It is Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023, and here I am recording a video. And it is the day before Thanksgiving, and I'm planning on going out to my dad's place tomorrow for dinner. I hope the traffic's not too bad, and everybody gets to where they're going safely. I hope I get to where I'm going safely. I know the way, and I just give myself as much time as what I need, and because I'm not in a hurry, and I'm not in a race, and there is no winning, so it takes as long as it takes to get there. And I just kind of am extra careful, more careful than I usually am when I'm just out traveling on a known holiday, because there are some people out there racing and trying to win on the roads, trying to get to where they're going on time. And yeah, so neighbors. Anyway, it was a very quiet day around here. Most people have left the building off to wherever it is they go, family or friends or places other than here. So it'll be pretty quiet tonight, I hope. And work is fairly busy leading up to the holidays, including today. But today was kind of it was the break. The light at the end of the tunnel. It's like, yeah, if you haven't gotten everything you need to get by, then you're just kind of, well, ooh, good luck. So, anyway. So tomorrow I'll go out and I'll get there, and there's the regular catch-up conversation, and my dad will try to figure some things out, because I don't volunteer some information because I don't really want to talk about it, and I've already sort of dealt with it enough that I don't want to go back into the details and try to explain things that he doesn't really have much of a part in, but he still wants to know anyway because he's curious, which I understand, but it's like, I don't want to talk about it, so I'll try to be a little bit diplomatically evasive and short with my answers. And it's not because I'm hiding anything or trying to, it's just, it really has nothing to do with him, and it's not really much of his business unless I decide on my own that I want to share it. So, and he'll ask about my brother and things like that. And also, I can't speak for him. And whatever the business is between those two, I am not the go-between or the mediator, and I don't want to be. So if there's no communication or conversation going on, then I don't want to run between them. And I've already done enough of that, and it's just really, really, it's a bad position to be in. And it isn't the first time where I've been the intermediary between two non-speaking parties. And it's basically just one side does not want to speak to the other. And that is within their rights. They can't force that relationship or assume that relationship or make it happen. If the other side is just, they don't want to talk, then they don't want to talk. And any amount of trying to manipulate or coerce or guilt or shame or any of that stuff, it's not going to help the situation. So the only thing he can really do is just nothing and just leave it alone. But he doesn't. He keeps trying to figure things out and try to get information out of me and to try to so I mostly just shrug it off. And, he is my dad. And we just have our own different sort of family history of how I grew up and what things were like. And from my perspective, I have my own memories of how things were and how things went and how I felt about them and what it was like for me as a kid and experiencing our family history. And my brother had his, and he's 2 years older than me. So his perspective is different, and I have no idea what it was like for him, but um, he's his own person, and he has a completely different story than mine. He probably has a much more well-traveled and definitely more interesting story than mine. But yeah, he's doing um, really well, and I'm proud of him. He has built for himself the life that he wants, and it's very satisfying. And I'm just very proud and happy that he's found something that he needed, and he is protecting it from outside interference from all sources, because he does not want any sort of he wants to have his own family and raise it the way he wants. And I think it's his family. So he can do that. So, and I'll take care of, I still maintain relationships with other members of the family. And they might not understand why they don't have contact with him, but he's made his determinations on his own, and that's not, if he doesn't want to share that with them, then that's for him to know. And yeah, so anyway, I really can't speak very much about it because it's not my place. And it'd be nice if, but I also understand that he doesn't want to have to explain himself, because other people would immediately, if he tried to explain himself, just like when I try to explain myself, and it's not the opinion or the way that somebody wants it to be, they'll try to find fault with it. Well, you're wrong to think this, or you're wrong to feel this, and people start defending. And it's like, no, they're not. They are able to form their own opinions and feelings without being directed. So it's like, just leave them be. But for whatever reason, I feel neutral enough that I can be okay in the situation, but only in small doses, and only when I feel that I do have the ability to get away and I'm not trapped. So limiting my exposure. So I guess a lot of it, I don't want to go too deep into the story, I guess, but family was a little bit fractured early on, just because parents got divorced when I was 6, and my brother was 8, and that was kind of it was a big thing, and I don't remember. I was, I guess, too young. I remember some things, but then there was just the court system and custody and choosing which parent to stay with, and then, you know, visitation on weekends and things like that, and traveling between states, because eventually my dad moved away, and you know, a few states over, and then, you know, some holidays I would be with him, and some holidays I would be, you know, I'd be home, you know, which, you know, I ended up staying with my mom, and and it was just visitation with dad on some holidays. And I'm not sure exactly if dad really wanted so much custody, or as he just wanted to, you know, kind of win at having the rights and things like that. But because when we were really there visiting, we were just kind of left alone, and we just kind of, my brother and I just kind of hung out with each other, and there wasn't really much planned activity. We were just there, which is okay, I guess, you know. But he just wasn't around for most of our childhood. He wasn't even a part of it or a factor in it, and he didn't really help out as far as like being there as a father figure, you know, for guidance and support, and, you know, teaching us this or that. He was just like basically an auxiliary character in our lives, a background player, and he wasn't there for our day-to-day, you know, trials and tribulations, and our, you know, decisions about how we were doing things or living our lives and the choices we were making. Just was not a non-entity. And who knows how he feels about himself, whether he thinks he was a good dad or not. I don't know. But he was definitely an absent father. And so as we, you know, got older, it's like, I don't know exactly what kind of relationship he was expecting, but it didn't materialize. And so I've stayed in touch. Sort of. But I've made my peace with it, and I am okay. I actually have a better talking relationship with my stepmom than I do with my dad, because my dad always is trying to get something out of the conversation, because he has plans, and he seems to always be, at least that's how it feels, to draw you in to whatever his plan is, for trying to get something done, some project. And you know, you can always feel where the conversation is headed, how he's like, you know, he could use some help, where he doesn't say it that way, but it's like he's waiting for you to show interest or to volunteer or to ask more questions, so he can then talk about the project more and try to get you involved, try to sell you on the project or idea. And there's some of his ideas, he needs somebody to do the marketing and promotion and salesman type stuff for it, which he isn't good at. He does the engineering and the design, and so he would need somebody to travel around and do the. And it's like, no, no, I am. He's never specifically asked me, but I totally have no idea and no interest in any of it, and I don't like talking to people, and I don't know anything about the science or the engineering, or the physics behind his work, and I don't want to learn. it's outside my depth. It's totally, you know, and it's like he would, you know, would want to then explain it, because to him it makes sense. Everything, you know, just, well, it's simple. You know, it's all this, and then you just, and I just, you know, I just go off into some, you know, parallel universe where he's just talking to me about, you know, computers and you know, combustion, and engines and mechanical stuff and electrical stuff and different words that I don't know. And yeah, I just totally zone out. And it's like, it's just not my thing. And so I think he thinks that my brother would be an excellent candidate to take over his project and to do it for him, a lot of the legwork to sell it on the market, the idea. And but no, that is not happening. If he wants this project to work, he's going to have to work it himself. And it's been at least 10, 15 years, maybe 20 years that he's been working on this, and it hasn't really, and it's only been recently that he's shown its some marketability. And it's like, yeah. So anyway, but as far as being a dad and stuff, he was a person in our lives, and he has my respect. But as far as my love, I don't know. He has been there for me a few times, and I'm just never sure. So anyway, I don't really want to say any more about it, I guess. It's a sensitive issue, I suppose, and I don't really know how to talk about it. That's interesting. Whereas, like with my mom, she's now passed away, and since she passed away on February 27th, and then had the funeral in early March. I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd, and so it's like that was an entirely different relationship, and again, not the healthiest of relationships. I didn't realize how unhealthy of a relationship that was until the last couple of years, and then even then I wasn't even sure about what the relationship was. But then after she passed away, I started feeling better about myself, and kind of feeling better about my life. And I missed and still do miss my mom, but from years ago, my memories of how she was before those last couple years, because she just became very hostile and angry, and I didn't really quite know who I was talking to, and she never had anything diagnosed, and she was highly adverse to doctors and things like that. So, and I'm not sure health-wise or mentally what was going on for her, but I just know she was having a lot of problems and a lot of pain, and she had problems with people not doing what she thought that they should be doing, and she really just wanted me to quit my life and everything that I'm doing and just go back there and move back home and be there and be a part of her life and take care of her, and I could build my life over again, and it was one of the harder things that I had to stand up for myself and just stand by and support, but not give in and give up on what I'd been doing, because I would not have been happy moving back. I left there in 2008, and Now, I didn't know what was going to happen when I left, but I felt good about leaving. I felt very, very certain that I wanted to leave, and I didn't have much to leave behind, and I didn't want to go back. So it's like wherever I ended up, which was here, was still better in my book than going back there. And everything happens for a reason, they say, and I don't have any regrets. Things didn't happen. It didn't all work out great for everybody. And I wish that things could have been different, and my mom, especially, could have, found some easier or more comforting life in those last couple years. But it was as much as what I could do was to just, stay in contact, and talk to her on a weekly basis. And but as far as like being the son that she wanted me to be for her, I couldn't do it. And it felt like, letting her down and being a disappointment. And I don't think she ever meant that, or for me to feel that. But I just knew that that's all she wanted. And anything that I was doing out here, she would just undermine and poke holes and find fault to, anytime anything bad happened here and I let her know about it, she saw that as an opportunity to try to, convince me to, oh, I should just move back there. And, it feels a little bit bad to be talking about it, after the fact. But if my writing from that period of time over the years, reflects a good deal about that. And some of my video recordings from, I am influenced by the events that are taking place and all the conversations that are happening off camera. Just family members trying to convince me to do things and influence me one way or the other, and not really supporting what I'm doing. They don't understand what I'm doing, though, because I don't really talk about it. This coming back to life and recovery. This is mine. This is my life, and I'm far more content and whole than I've ever been at any other point in my life. And it doesn't mean I've found myself, and it doesn't mean I'm happy, but it just means that I'm okay. And for the longest time, I just wasn't, I just wasn't there. I spent all of my time in my early adulthood up until 2016. I just spent it, constantly on a daily basis. Not all the time, but I was mostly preoccupied all the time with drinking. And in the last couple of years, leading up to 2016, that's pretty much all I did. Those last couple of years, it was really bad. And it was not funny, and it was really pathetic, and I didn't like it. And I wanted out, and I must have done I must have done a really good job at protecting it and hiding it. What I wanted to keep, secret, because I didn't want to let people see how bad things were. So, but I couldn't have been that good at it. But when everything fell apart, and it's like it all fell apart, and my best thought was to leave it. leave it fall apart. Don't try to build it back up. Just let that life end and start a new one. And so that's what I did. It wasn't a plan. It just happened that way. I wanted out of that life, and I got out. And there was nothing for me to go back to. Whereas most people, they build relationships and families and, have, significant others or spouses or children. It's like, I didn't do that. I found, drinking to be the thing that I spent my time doing. And I never took the time to form relationships and things like that. So, in this time since 2016, here, I've just been becoming a person, finding a personality, finding an identity, and getting to know myself, and getting to like myself, and to forgive myself. But still, I haven't really formed very many relationships with very many other people. I'm known and by quite a few people, as far as just acquaintances kind of thing, on friendly terms, and I'm well liked, I think, by a few people, but mostly misunderstood. And I tend to think that people are suspicious of me or skeptical of me because I don't talk, and they don't understand people that don't talk. They feel uncertain of themselves and insecure because I don't approach them, or I don't approach them on purpose. And I just keep to myself, and I'm just not antisocial, but I'm asocial. I am trying to avoid as many social interactions as possible. And it doesn't mean that I don't like them. It just means I don't want to interact with them. I want to choose who I interact with, and that level that I interact with them at. And I don't know. I guess it's just I have the limited energy and emotional capacity to handle a lot of people, or give them what they're looking for, or recognize what they're looking for, trying to, get out of me, or if they even want anything. I can never tell. I'm very bad at reading people or understanding the situation, and even after the fact, and it's like I'm just totally confused by what happened there, and it's like, okay, well, they were nice, they were kind of friendly for a little bit, and all of a sudden they aren't friendly, and it's like and then I just figure that I must have not done something, or must have not recognized that I was supposed to have done something, or that they had wanted something and I didn't do it, or I was supposed to know this, or supposed to know that, or supposed to do this, or supposed to do that. And it's like, and I didn't. And it's like, okay. So that's a learning curve that I don't even understand. So I mostly just stick to myself, and it's just how it is. And it doesn't mean that I like it, and it's just, and it also doesn't mean that that's how it's always going to be, but it is how it is now, and I'll be okay. So as far as like Thanksgiving plans and people, get-togethers and family, it's like I don't have that, and I've never had that, in this, period of time. But when I was a kid, we had large family get-togethers and all that sort of thing. It's just I don't have that for myself now, because I haven't, I never took the time to build up that sort of thing, because it was not a priority at the time. So now I have different priorities, and still working on it. So anyway, let me go.